All right. Looks like we are live. I cannot wait for this show here tonight. I'm going to give people a couple of minutes to come on in. How was your day, babe?
Great. How was yours?
It was awesome. It was awesome.
We're on Up Next. You ready?
Yes. Can you believe this? We are actually the host.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
I hope everyone voted today.
Yes. I voted. I have my sticker here somewhere. See, I voted here in Douglas County. Yes.
Yes, I have my stickers in the car.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started. First of all, welcome to this episode of Up Next Reverse, or you could say Next Up. But this is Up Next Reverse. This is a show that was started by actually our guest today. This show was started by our guest. Many of you know her. It's Kiona Sinks. How did you meet her, Tiffany?
Through mutual friends, Dr. Dennis and Dr. LaQuanda Carpenter. First time we met her was at an event that she hosted for Dr. Carpenter.
Yeah, yeah. So to kind of give you a little background, she started this show when we were in quarantine. It was just a spur of the moment thing where she wanted to just engage and learn more about people and just interview people as a means of, everyone was spending a lot of time on social media. And so she started this show Up Next. And she's been interviewing tons of people and amazing people that are doing things in the community. And my wife came up with an idea for her. You want to tell about the idea you had?
So, Kiana's like a little sister to me. So we've been talking and we were chatting, and I was like, Kiana, everybody wants to know about you. At least the nosy in me wants to know a little bit more about you. I said, so let's do an Up Next Reverse. And she thought about it. And I think she's been thinking about it for a while, and it finally came to fruition. I think it will allow people to get to know her a little bit. So I'm excited that I get to ask her the juicy questions, no holds barred, and you'll probably ask the more reserved questions.
Yeah, so she's the guest today, and so she's used to asking her guest questions, and so we were afforded the opportunity to interview her, and so that's why she's calling it Up Next Reverse. And so if you don't know much about Kiona Sinks, she's a diversity inclusion community advocate, social and civic innovator, uh, cause-driven equity leader. So we're excited to welcome our guest on Up Next Reverse. Please help us welcome the amazing Kiona Sinks. Come on in the room. There she is. There she is.
Too
Oh my
much.
God. Oh
Too
my
much.
God.
Welcome to our show.
Welcome.
Thanks,
Welcome.
thanks for having me. Thanks for having me. Good to be
Anytime.
seen.
All right. Anytime. So first of all, again, thank you so much for coming on our show today. We're fortunate that out of your busy schedule, you took some time to have a conversation with some common folks like ourselves. And so we definitely appreciate the opportunity to just sit down and chat with you. I have some questions that I'm eager to ask you. My wife has some questions that I know she's been talking about this all week. The question that she wants to ask you.
Oh,
So
geez.
again, I'm Anthony Lewis, and this is my wife.
Tiffany Lewis.
And we're actually in the same house, but we're practicing social distancing. So that's why we're not in the same room.
Really?
I can kind of get used to this social distancing in the house. I don't have to hear her mouth a lot.
Oh my God.
But anyway, look, we have Kiona Sinks, and Kiona, I've done my research on you.
Mhm.
Couple of things I've found out that you were a track star. Is that correct? At Central Methodist University?
I ran track collegiately for
Okay.
about 3 years because one of those years I got hurt really bad, and so I had the red shirt. And yeah, just did the 4x1. I was the block starter. So as Coach called it, you always want a good start and you want a good finish. And he
Mhm.
trusted me to have the baton and to keep it going. And so it was a big thing for me because I never thought I would run collegiately in college, but that really afforded me the opportunity, number one, to just have that experience and just see what it feels like to just be collegiately in the sports world. And then number two, to just build my confidence. Because in track, you're out there by yourself, you know, so whatever you do in training, you know, it shows on game day. And so, I ran track. A lot of people don't know that, but I did.
Yeah, I found that out. And you know what? You mentioned something. I like what the coach said. You got to have a good start and a great finish. And so you are definitely, and we're going to get into some of the work that you've done, but you're definitely what I consider a mover and a shaker that's definitely on her way to having a great finish. So people don't know much about the good start you had. So tell us, who is Kiona Sinks?
Man, Kiona is a passionate, loving, caring, diehard fan for just life. You know, I think for me, I'm very fortunate that my grandparents, being the first grandchild, I made everybody their first aunt, the first uncle. So I didn't want for anything, but foundationally, my grandmother always taught me to never take anything for granted. And I think her laying that foundation and giving me those consistent morals and values, along with, you know, many other people in my life and in my extended family, that really cultivated and shaped me. And I don't think without that, I wouldn't really know who I am and have that solid, like, okay, understanding of love comes from within first. And I think that's why I'm able to kind of share that with others, even right now in my life. But yeah, Kiona loves to have fun. I'm passionate. I love giving back. And I think a lot of what people know is they see it now. And so, yeah.
Awesome. So from Kansas City, from the Midwest?
So actually, born and raised Jonesboro, Arkansas, literally.
Arkansas.
So if people know where Little Rock is, home of Arkansas State, that is where I came to life.
Okay, Jonesboro.
And mom pushed me out March 22nd, and I was a spring break baby, and I was born on a Wednesday. I think that's why I like Wednesdays too. So yeah. A lot of people think I'm from Kansas City, but I'm not. So yeah, just a little sidebar.
Okay, originally from Jonesboro, Arkansas. Okay, so some kind of southern roots there. We consider Arkansas in the South, I guess you would say.
Yeah, but I don't sound like it. Like a lot of people look at me, they listen to me and they're like, what? And I'm like, I didn't grow up enough there to accumulate an accent. You know what I mean? Like, I got friends that are there now and I'm like, whoa, like, that's what I would have sounded like if I still was there.
So you sound a little bit of like this person right here.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, you don't sound like her because she's from Montgomery, Alabama, and definitely has that southern drawl. It'll come out every now and then. People say I have it too. It'll come out every now and then. So Kiona Sinks, what people say about you, Kiona is a visionary who makes things happen. She's a relationships builder who inspires others to come along with her. I just want to kind of get for people to really understand who we have the opportunity to interview today. Somebody else said this: Kiona is changing the way we all create and provide value by doing, setting an example on how other young leaders should operate. I'm excited to have her in a front row seat to see how she will change this world. Wow. What do you say to that? When somebody says, I have a front row seat just watching Kiona Sinks change this world?
Man, that's a lot, you know, but I'm humbled by people who take the time to even think that worthy of me. I know to whom is given, much is required. And so I don't take that lightly at all, because I know that with those very words, I have to be mindful of that in everything that I do in my life, whether that's me speaking, whether that's me just being out and about, whether that's me just hanging with my girls and we just a happy hour, or whether that's me in the classroom. So, you know, I don't take that lightly, but it's been a true journey to even build those relationships, to have people even learn that about me, or to have that being articulated. And so it's pretty cool that people think that of me this early on in my not only personal life but my professional career. And I think that's a lot. And it's sometimes you get too embedded and you think about it and it's like, all right, you don't want to freak yourself out because I know I still got a lot of life to live. But it's humbling for sure.
Yeah. So that's just a little bit about Kiona. I know my wife is itching to ask some of her questions to what I consider be nosy. She calls them questions. I just think she's being nosy. But I want to kind of get a little bit into some of the things that you're currently doing, and I'll kind of lead into it with this another quote that someone said about you. Kiona inspired me with her story of finding her voice as a young African American woman in college, and how she's building on it through an organization called Black Excellence KC, which you are the founder of, right? So you want to tell us a little bit about Black Excellence KC?
Yeah, BXKC, I like to say, was created in my mind 2 years before it came to life. And so coming back and forth to Kansas City, just like many youth that me and you, Dr. Lewis and Tiffany, we talked about, you want to be able to see yourself in the community that you plan on making home. And so not that I didn't think that people were here, it was just a matter of I was jumping, like going to this person and coming over here and I'm going to that event, I'm meeting here, instead of just finding one organization or one platform that allowed me to just be connected and say, okay, if you just need to meet Dr. Lewis, here he is. You just connect to BXKC and they can make that referral for you. And so we had our organizational launch in we just had our first birthday on August 2nd. So we are officially 1 year old. Yeah. And I kind of that happened and I really didn't take that in, but that's a big deal because we launched it at the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum. And what I thought would be 50 people that would just show up and, just come and check it out. Literally 300 people showed up to BXKC's launch. And we weren't just dressed just put on some clothes. No, you go back and look at pictures, we were suited and booted. People came out, Black Excellence, dressed to the nine. And it was amazing to see my friend who is 24, 23, or 25 my age, and she's talking to our city leaders. And I think that's what we need more of Kansas City. When I think of Black Excellence KC, I think of us closing the gap to that social network that we talk about, accessibility to relationships. And we already know how hard that is as Black people. So we need to make sure that at least we have a mutual, understanding and communication and just being able to say, oh yeah, I met Dr. Lewis. Oh yeah, I met Tiffany. And I know if I'm interested in the healthcare field, she would be able to help me achieve that. Or if she don't know, she's definitely gonna make sure she refer me to the right person. So that's it. BXKC just wants to be a bridge for the future for our youth here in our city. I want to be able to retain and recruit and keep them here. If they decide to leave, it's not because they didn't say, well, I didn't have an opportunity. It's because they could say, I just want to get away from mom and dad for a little bit. But once they come back, BXKC should be that landing spot where they're able to, connect with us and have us there to figure out professionally, is it entrepreneurship? Is it, hey, I just want to get another job in this area? Or how can I take advantage of some other resources to expand my network? So it's been a blessing. I ultimately say when I talk about BXKC, it's you create out of what you wish you would have had. And so 5 years ago, I wish I would have had people like you and Tiffany reaching out to me and saying, how can I help you? Instead of, and not saying that that's not people's intentions, that they don't want to do that, but we need to start creating intentional space to have those conversations. So Dr. Lewis and Tiffany can say, how can I help you? But if we don't have those spaces for intergenerational and age to talk to one another, we're never going to meet and we're never going to make that connection. And so I feel like BXKC has a huge opportunity here in Kansas City and on the Kansas side as well to bridge that gap because they say the future is youth and nobody's really doing anything around that. And not that we know everything and I don't know everything, but I think retention is something that needs to be addressed in our city.
Yeah. And you mentioned that and being intentional. I was reading an article. I think the young lady's name was Olivia. I think it was posted on Kaufman's website. It was an article about about Kansas City not being for young Black professionals, and she was talking about her time as a young girl going to visit Atlanta and how she just saw herself there in Atlanta because she felt at home there. And she goes on to say, she had a conversation with Mayor Lucas, and he said that we could create our own Atlanta here. And so when you think about that, and I know you've read the article, and when you think about that and the work that BXKC can do, what is there that you want BXKC to do intentionally to kind of impact that, where that's no longer the narrative?
Yeah. In order for that narrative to change, we need to be working with, as in I say Black Excellence KC needs to be working with employee resource groups. We need to be partnering with schools and having conversations with you about what are seniors' mindset when they want to make that transition to college. And if that's staying locally, we need to start separating those kids, and we need to start referring and referencing and connecting them to, counselors, homeschool communicators, communicating with BXKC to say, hey, this is what we have. These are the numbers that we're looking at of high school students that we're looking at keeping here in Kansas City. And that conversation needs to be had like the first semester of like the school year, right? So we kind of already have a significant head start on us preparing, hey, these are how many sponsorships or how many corporations that we need to be asking for shadow days, for job resource fairs, all of those things. So we make sure that when senior year comes in the spring, BXKC is able to like literally provide what Kansas City in the future of our Black youth needs. And I think that's where my focus is, because when I was 18 and 19 and 20 coming back and forth, everything that Olivia articulated in that article, that was what I was thinking. And I commend her for writing that, because now I'm just sitting here and I'm like, well, I started this organization, and that is exactly why I started this. And so, COVID has kind of pivoted a lot of what we've done, which is not bad. We've been able to talk about small business. We've been able to provide, resources on our website and just say, hey, like, here's this PPP information, because that's the deficit in our Black community. We don't know what's out there. And when you're just trying to keep the lights on and pay the bills, it's like, I don't got time to be jumping from one website to the next, to this, to that. I need to be able to go to one place and just get everything I need. So I do think that Black Excellence KC will overall be like Subway. When you go to Subway, if you want a turkey sandwich, you're going to get a turkey sandwich if you don't want any onions or any of that. But if you, mainly want to get specials and deals and things that they are really champion, you're going to get that and then some. And so I think that is BXKC's manifestation in the next 5 to 10 years. Our legacy will be retaining and changing the way we see Black youth here in our city, and how we cultivate external and internal partnerships with Kansas City to enhance the Atlanta experience here in our community. So if I'm not doing that, then I don't want any part of having just things to just say, oh, I've done that. It's like that's what's changed my life. I went out and I've literally said, yeah, we're having this launch on August 2nd, and yeah, you're going to give me money so I can have this launch party. And we were able to do that. I didn't come from like, hey, I got 5 G's, 10 G's, and, this is what we're going to do. Everything that people see, we literally, myself and my co-founders, put together. And we know we're small. We know we don't know it all, but I think it's beautiful for me personally to see something that was written down in a notebook, and yet like it's here. So yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, you're watching Up Next Reverse. Normally Kiona's the host. She's not hosting anything today. We're the host. My wife, Anthony, and my wife, Tiffany, we're hosting Kiona. We're connecting. We're getting some real truths coming up here in a moment. And my wife has some questions that she's itching to ask. And I just want to remind our viewers that you have an opportunity also to ask Kiona some questions. If you would just type those in the chat box, and we will make sure we get those questions answered. So, Tiffany, can you start off with one not so nosy question?
I do have serious questions. I don't know why you guys don't think I can ask serious questions. So I'll start off with my first kind of low level question. So, Kiana, what do you consider so far in your life to be your greatest accomplishment?
Wow.
See?
I think for me it's been for me it's been just watching my resilience. I feel like I don't give myself enough credit. There's been times in my life that people didn't know this, and I'm gonna really air out my business tonight with this episode. But when I had my first community event here in Kansas City, it sold out. But when I went home, I was packing up my boxes in my first apartment that I couldn't afford because my job let me go. And I think for me, that was very, it was very difficult because you look at yourself internally and you're like, what did I do wrong? Like, I went to this job, I'm doing the right things, I went to college, I've checked off all these boxes, I've met the right people, I'm not out here wilding out on these streets, like, I'm trying to do the right thing, and you're still like struggling. And so I think for me, the biggest accomplishment has been just me getting up and just trying it again and trying it again and trying it again. And not that I'm perfect, not that I know it all, but it's got me here to this point. And I think that shows when you don't give up and when you believe in yourself, how many blessings and how much can happen in such a time as this. And so I'm proud of myself for that. It's been a tough journey, but it's been full of gratitude and definitely, like as you asked earlier, and what I said is humbling. Take nothing for granted because it all can be gone like tomorrow.
Yes.
Like literally.
We've talked about that too, I think, in some of our conversations that you and I have had. So another question I have is, what do you like to do in your spare time when it's just no episodes to be recorded, no class, no schoolwork? What is one of your favorite spare time in festivities?
Yeah, I love to now. Lately, it's been like, I'm going to go in Five Guys and get a bacon burger, like with my mask on. And like, I'm just going to go and like, give me some Tevas. Like, I love to choose Tevas and I love to go walking. So I don't know. I love to come home and just like, I'm at home. Like, this is my home. Like, I'm gonna watch TV. Like, people would think that I would be out here like doing some extravagant stuff. And it's like, no, Kiana, I'm just walking. I just want to walk the track. I'm minding my own business and I'm just out getting some vitamin D. Like, I love just the spontaneous of just, if I end up in Overland Park on a Monday, then that's great. If not, then I'm on the couch and I'm fine with that.
In yoga pants.
Yeah. In my yoga pants, and I'm chilling and everybody's like, you're so busy. And I'm like, yeah, I'm busy, but there's a balance. I'm not busy every day. I've got better at that because last year I was working so much. Like, I was literally every single day. Like, there was something that it was like, had to be done. It really didn't need to be done, but it had to be done. And when you least expect it, I could be on the couch chilling. Chilling, just kicking it up.
Inquiring minds, are you single?
Uh-oh. Here we go.
I am. Yep, it's coming. Here it is.
Ready to mingle?
I am. I not now. I know that it's gonna happen. I think listening and actually reading you and Dr. Lewis's story, you're at these two-way streets of like, you want to make sure whomever you're with that you're ready for that. And I think any successful marriage that I've been able to listen and here recently, moving out of, like my second family's home and seeing like how they take on marriage and raising a son and like just looking at you guys and the carpenters, and it's a lot. And I just think you just gotta be ready for that. So I'm enjoying being 25 and I'm enjoying
really,
not having not having the responsibilities of like, okay, you got to come home to somebody. You got to make sure that you're emotionally available for them. You got to cook. You got to cook. I got to cook. He gonna want something to eat. I got to make sure he's fed.
Kiana, you don't have to cook. Just
I do cook. I just haven't lately.
Okay. So that's good. That's good to know. That's like marriage like that's like pre-marriage 101. Like
Right.
before the counseling, what not to do, what to do. I guess you're
Don't
right.
cook
But
every day because
Okay.
they'll expect it. So cook like once a month.
She
Okay.
she literally lives by that too.
Yeah,
Once
once a month. That is
a brother be
hilarious.
a brother be struggling in here, Kiona.
I
Hey,
could cook
leftovers,
every day if I wasn't
leftovers.
working. I could cook every day if
Yeah.
I was at home.
I'll take takeout, ma'am. You keep working.
You keep bringing home that money, girl. I love it. But no, I mean, I know it's going to happen. And I just think for me right now, it's get you together. Like, what do you want to be? Like, what do you, like right now, I'm in counseling, not because I'm going through it. I mean, yes, I got things I got to work on.
You always
but
need that.
yeah, but I'm talking to her like, okay, this is where we're at in life. And you need to understand you. You need to make sure that when that happens, now, not that you're perfect, but you can be fully transparent and be present and not be bringing stuff into relationships and repeating dynamics. I don't want to go through all that. And I'll be working on that too. Like, don't come to me broken. Like, be the best you single. So when we do get together, we could be good, and we can work on us instead of working on like your stuff and my stuff and us stuff. That's not gonna happen. I'm not doing that. So no, I'm not. I am single and I'm not ready to mingle currently.
Okay. There.
Well,
Now,
God better.
And you, and that you're gonna have to mix that with a relationship.
Okay, we'll talk about it. I know you got more questions.
She's working on herself. She's working on herself. But I want to part right there for a minute because you said something that I want to make sure that we stress. And you said you're seeing a counselor, and I think we need to I know we need to normalize that, and people begin to immediately think or respond. Oh, what's wrong with her? She's saying everybody needs to see somebody. Everybody needs to talk to somebody. God knows I need to talk to somebody. But I think that's important for our listeners to hear. Our viewers to hear is that that's something that we want to normalize. It's okay, and so if you know of some positive Black-owned counselors, drop their name in the chat box. We want to support our own as well, but let's normalize that. It's okay to just sit on the couch and talk to someone. All right, Tiffany, the next question.
You need that. I think, Kiona and I have talked. I tell you, like, there are days that she just crosses my mind and I may pick up the phone or text her and say, hey, you got a moment? And I try to always leave you with something like, look, the best is yet to come. One day when you blow up, you're going to remember the little old Lewises and you're going to have to push us in our wheelchair because by then we're going to be real old. But I tell you that all the time, that it's okay to reach out. I think we need to, like you said, Anthony, remove that stigma from seeking help, mental health counseling, because I think the best of us get down on ourselves. We are our own worst critic. We fight as women internally. Listen to Africa Preach, Dr. Lewis. I mean, we fight in leadership roles internally with what could we do different. We always second guess. I mean, for me, I always second guess myself. So I know you said you're not ready to mingle. Howsoever, if you were ready to mingle, what's your type of guy?
I ain't got no time.
Look, I was ready to mingle and was actually mingling like around this time last year. But this is what happens, Dr. Lewis, when we get, men who, don't have it together, they don't really know what they're doing. And I'm a firm believer, like, look, I'm busy. I got stuff I'm doing. And if you can't just be open to that and like be innovative and be like understanding that, you're going to have to share me. And then if you really don't know what you're doing, and when the times do come together and it's not consistent and it's not transparent and you don't know where your motives are and I'm all in and you're half in, it's not going to work. So if I were to be in a relationship right now, he would really need to do those things. He would really need to, first and foremost, be understanding that this is who I am, what I bring to the table, and I'm just going to be busy trying to impact the things that I care about in our community. That doesn't mean that I shouldn't take in account that, hey, you got a relationship, you need to give that time. But I think like today, like most young men in our age, and I say young because we got Dr. Lewis because he up there, macho, you know. It's a lot. Like they just don't understand that. It's like, do you want a girl that's like out here just not doing anything? You want me at home all day? Like, do you not want me out here like that's my wife? Like she killing it. Like she about to be doing X, Y, and Z. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like I can't just like sit and just be underneath you. And I think that's what relationships, in my opinion, I know other people would differ maybe if they were to hear me say that, but that's how I feel. So, and with knowing who I am, I think he would just need to be understanding of that. He would need to be compassionate. He would need to be open to meeting people that I care about. So my thoughts about my second father and Dr. Lewis and you and other people, like if y'all come around here and it's like, I don't know. Something, you gotta, I mean, it's like, you gotta have that together. Like, I can't teach you to be like a man and possess those things. And so I just want his character to be intact. I think everything else will fall in line for me. I just think it's a matter of, are you all in and are you ready for that? Because for me, my life, I cannot go into a relationship without discussing marriage. And I think that's the next step. It's like, I'm dating to marry. At least that's what we talk about in church. That's what I've been taught with mentors. I listen to you all. Like, it needs to be purpose in any of that. And so, not saying that it's perfect. We don't come with things. I won't come with something at a year or two down the road. But at least for me, like, we need to have some intentions and some boundaries on, okay, why are we dating? And if you ain't trying to marry me, then we don't need to be together.
Yeah, and I don't know this fella, but some men can be intimidated by a woman that's moving and shaking things, that's out there as a go-getter for a couple of reasons. One is there's that stigma with some men of, I don't want my wife making more money than me. I could care less. Right.
It's going in the same routing number. It's going in the same routing. I mean, I'm just saying.
You're right. But and then I think it's that stigma of the male being the head and want to take care of everything, want to take care of my lady, you know. But like you said, you have to have that person that's going to be there to say, hey, go do you. I'm going to do me. We're going to be a force together. You know, it's not, you know, I'm gonna do my 50%, you do your 50%. Everybody each person does their 100%. You know, and just imagine how you all will blow up together. So I mean, I will tell you, take your time and enjoy your life. You know, continue to work on you, and he will find you because he's supposed to find you. You're not supposed to find him. Next question.
And I think, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Before Tip goes, I think that is encouraging to me. You know, I think and there's no guy, so you know, it was, and I think that window, if it would have happened, it needed to happen then, because probably like right now, it's like my mind, I'm not even there. And so, you know, I'm sure people are probably texting me tonight and say, oh, who's that? You know, like, we ain't airing all that out. It didn't work. So it don't even matter. Don't call me. Don't text me.
Right.
My family will tell you, we had many nights where we was like, look, if this ain't what it is and he doing X, Y, and Z, nope, shut it down. Like literally, like just months ago. Like, nope, we already been through here, been there, done that. Shut it down. I'm like, all right, cool. It was hard, but it was necessary.
Yeah. All right, Tiffany, what's your next nosy question?
What's your favorite reality TV show?
Oh, wow.
Oh my God.
I like reality TV.
I mean, I know Atlanta Housewives is like, that's the go-to. I sneak in on that every once in a while, but I really don't watch a lot of reality TV, to be really honest. Like, I don't.
Really?
I don't. I don't. Like, literally, let me tell you what I watch. In the morning when I get up, I turn on First Take with Sitting in Sharp, and I turn on, what's the other sports show? I forget it. I can't even First Talk, whatever. I don't even know. Shannon, all those guys. I listen to sports. That's just where I'm at right now. We ain't had sports in like almost the whole year, so I'm trying to get World's Baseball in. World's Baseball was on the whole 3 days. I was like, yep, and that's just what's important right now. I'm just gonna watch baseball.
So you tune into sports first thing in the morning?
I do, and that's really like after I like get myself together, get up, meditate, pray, all that stuff. It's like, okay, go to the TV and turn on Shannon Sharp, Uncle Shannon, and hearing what he got to talk about, because that's reality when it in itself. Have you watched him?
Yeah. Ask Lewis what he wakes up to listening to.
Yeah. You can find you a good man, Kiona. You watch sports. I'm a good man.
Ask Lewis when he go to sleep. Where he go to sleep listening to, and what he wakes up to. What do you go to sleep listening to, honey?
Ratchet TV. Somebody on there fighting. Or if it's not that, it's some kind of unsolved murder mystery that she's watching. First 48. Something that, or it's some type of movie that's bashing men. Anything on Lifetime. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
I'm listening to a meditation app. I'm trying to get myself to calm down. Like I'm like, you've been like literally like yesterday it was like boop, 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 and it's like nope. Like I need to like I kid you not. The meditation app is on my phone. I turned it on for 30 minutes, and that's what makes me go to bed. It like, okay, she's like, relax, 1, 2, 3. She's going in and out, and it's really just like, tunes and like things to kind of get you to go to bed, and you have to wear headphones because it kind of, I don't know, it's something with the brain and nighttime that it works together. Anyway, that's a lot. Okay. Nobody cares, but that's what I'm going to sleep to. I can't go to sleep to somebody shooting somebody saying Nucky bucks, like, what's up? I can't go to sleep listening to local kids news. I can't be on Twitter. It's like, okay, I've learned when you're in the bed, you got to go to bed. That's what Dr. Michelle Roberts told me. She said, when you're in the bed, you got to go to bed. And I'm like, okay. Because that was my problem. I was in the bed, but I wasn't in the bed, like, sleeping. I was, like, just in the bed.
No sleepovers with you then.
I'm so happy that you're our guest, because I hope my wife is learning something as well, because she gets upset when she goes to sleep on it and never figure out who murdered the person. So then she wakes up upset, wanting to know, who killed who on the murder mystery channel. So again, you're watching Up Next with our guest this is our show. Up Next, this is our show for tonight. Our guest is Kiona Finks, the CEO and founder of BXKC, and this is her platform that she founded, but she's allowing guests to come on and interview her in segments that she's calling Up Next Reverse. Again, I'm Anthony Lewis, and this is my wife, Tiffany. Tiffany, do you have any more nosy questions?
Yes. However.
Okay. We don't have a lot of time. Again, those are.
Well, we can do a second episode if anybody wants me to ask the juicy questions.
One is enough for you, man. One is enough for you. Kiona can only take one episode. You better be thankful she allowed us to come on tonight. If there's anybody watching and you have a question for Kiona, young, talented, brilliant, intelligent African-American woman in the Kansas City area that's really shaking up the entire scene there in Kansas City. I do have a question for you, Kiona. And it may appear to be a simple question, but it tells me a lot about people when I ask them this question. It is basically, who do you want to be like and why?
Dang. That's hard, because right now I'm in this season of my life where I am being very intentional on, it's like what you talk about, the leap, right? Like, you don't want to leap too far before you've arrived. And I think if you were to ask me, that's my biggest fear. Like, I much as I love people investing and helping me and shaping me and giving me the accolades, I want to make sure that I actually know, like, myself. And so I've been listening a lot, obviously Michelle Obama through and through, just how she carries herself as a woman. But I would say Serena Williams, because when she makes noise, she makes noise. And I think for me, just like, you always want to make sure that you're doing what you need to do. But when it's time to really execute, she's been able to do just that, in tennis world. But think she's doing that in life. You know, I think I read something about her a couple of weeks ago. She invested for her daughter ownership in a team. I don't know what team. And it was a while ago and I forgot, but just like her moves and how she articulates things. And when she does do things, it's just, she crosses her I's and dots her T's, and she does it just with class. So I really like Serena Williams. I know we don't hear a lot about her. We don't see a lot of her like we do LeBron. But I think when we do hear of her, it's like, okay, what's she do? Like, what match did she win? She's always just doing something. And when she does something, you best believe ESPN, the news, everybody gonna pick it up. So I like that. Yeah. It's like, if I'm gonna make some noise, you're gonna know about it.
So I have
it's gonna be worth your attention.
That's interesting. I like that. I like that answer.
So you talk to me about seeing Lewis and I out doing things, and you always hear Lewis and I both talk about legacy work and what we're doing for our children to build a foundation. So I have a two-part question. One, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And two, what do you want your legacy to be?
Yeah, I'll start with the second question. What do I want my legacy to be? I want my legacy to be dedicated to empowering and changing the way we see our communities as Black people, and just really allowing, wealth and taking advantage of opportunities and giving those to other people, and being consistent in how I'm able to show, not only tell people, but show them, Kiona, how did you go from like knowing like nobody to like building your own network map and just knowing the Lewises, and getting to know what they do and how they articulate things. Because Dr. Lewis, like you're in the boardroom, that's a different conversation. It's very different from before you even get in the room. And so I think a lot of us don't have that, but we do. But from my standpoint and what I'm talking about with my friends who are in our 20s, that's not something that we feel that is like shown or like passed down. And so I want to be able to leave my legacy and just really being able to impact how we see ourselves, our self-worth, but also using that in being strategic and building wealth. Next 5 years, I don't know. I'll tell you, I know it's for me, it's not politics. I think a lot of people will write that story for me and say that prematurely. God would literally have to usher me into the ballot, whatever process to get that on paper, and to get that going. But in the next 5 years, I see myself owning probably, or franchising my ice cream parlor, starting to build wealth for my kids and for my family. I know it's ice cream, but that's the way that I'm going to do it. And I think just really being able to say that I've had my hand in everything. So in the next 5 years, I think it's going to be economic. And I think it's going to be me learning how to invest in Black empowerment, and whatever that is, I will make sure that in some capacity we move forward, whatever that is. So if it's literacy with kids, I'm going to have not only an investment with my time, but with my money too. And I think that will speak for itself when I'm able to learn just the processes of what does that look like and how do we build wealth for our families? Because as you know, we're not taught that a lot. Some of us are, some of us aren't. And so I didn't learn that. And so that's where I'm at. It's like, what is going to be like when I'm just chilling at the crib? Like, you can just go and like walk in and walk out. If you choose to go get ice cream and have them give you a cone, it's like, hey, y'all, checking in. What's going on? Everything's good. The building's not burning down. And franchise it, and we'll see. And hopefully 5 years from now, hopefully there's a BXKC STL, there's a BX ATL. Hopefully BXKC is in licensing and extension in other cities, at least B cities. And so we can kind of extend and lay the foundation for Black excellence in other cities.
Good. Anthony, do you have any more questions?
Of course I do. Of course I do. Well, who are you reading, or what are you reading right now?
I'm copying you and Tiff because I'm listening to audio White Fragility.
Okay.
So I've been kind of slow to finish that. And then I'm going to finish Where Do We Go From Here? Dr. Martin Luther King. Like everybody knows, that was like his last like book to the world before he departed and left the earth. So those are some things that I'm reading. I'm learning that I like probably audio better because I'm probably doing something, so I need to listen while I'm walking or while I'm going to the next thing or I'm in the car. So yeah, those are some things that I'm reading.
Okay, I want to come back to what you mentioned about Dr. Martin Luther King. Where do we go from here? But first, I want to get to this question that's in the chat from Dwayne Ferrier. What is the one song, regardless of genres, that causes you to move? That causes you to move, and why?
Man, the Gap Band. Do not play anything Gap Band. I will go crazy. Like I have an old soul, so like people think, oh, turn on some rap. Nope, that won't even get me. Nope. We need to go to the Gap Band, Earth, Wind and Fire, Isley Brothers. I mean, my people are probably like, what do you know about that? Know everything about it. My grandma played it all the time. So yeah, that would be, the Gap Band.
Okay.
Like
you have a favorite song? Just any song.
I like a lot of their songs. I know obviously the one that we all know, the go-to, Outstanding. What are some other ones? Tip?
I don't know. I'm not that old.
Gap Band?
I like rap.
Oh, see.
Just kidding.
Hence the Ratchet TV.
Yeah,
I don't even listen to her. I like Betty Wright.
After the Pain. I mean,
yes, that's my song. And
that's the song. Okay.
See, I like that kind of stuff. And Johnny Taylor.
Johnny Taylor, last $2. I mean, my grandma will. Betty Wright. Did she just Betty Wright?
Oh,
Betty Wright.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
last $2 if you stop asking.
I'm sending
just
you a
because
kiss.
I can. Yes.
I mean, it goes on, like, don't sleep on me, Dr. Lewis. Don't sleep on me.
Early in the morning.
Early in the morning. So I gotta get up.
Yeah.
You dropped the bomb
I love that kind of music. Yeah.
Yearning.
Yeah.
Yearning probably is my favorite.
That right there. So we're gonna do the next barbecue, the next cookout.
Okay.
That's it.
Yeah.
With everybody, the whole crew.
Yeah. Okay, so back to a point you made earlier when you were talking about Dr. Martin Luther King and some things you were reading from him, and you said, where do we go from here? And really understanding, and we may not have a lot of time to go really deep into this issue, but considering the civil unrest now, and you being I do consider young, mover and shaker in this work, just thinking about where we currently are, where do we go from here? I mean, a lot of things have happened. People are saying, okay, people are now beginning to see what we as Black people have been saying for years. So I'll just ask that question: where, as just in your work, where do we go from here?
Yeah, that's a very broad question. We probably do need to do a part 2 of this. Look, Tiffany picked up. I would say, that's what I've been, first and foremost, just the climate that we're in today. I will speak for me just going to go vote today. I felt so empowered because 2 things. One, I'm like, we got to get some people up out of here, locally too. And we got to get people who really care about us, Black or white. I don't care. It's long gone are the days where we say we care about people, we care about our communities, and we're just sitting on our asses and we're not doing anything. And so, and then 2, I actually felt like I knew what I was voting for. And I really think a lot of people, when we go to the polls, we just be marked, especially for us young folks, we just be marking stuff. Sometimes, not all the time, but we just be like, let me skip that. I'm not sure.
Looking at the name, he sounds like he might be.
But I knew today I really cared because I sat there for 25 minutes and just really like took it in and was really just kind of like, John Lewis just passed away. And that's a huge deal. He literally fought for me to vote and other people that were walking in there. And so it's like, somebody died for that. And so you really need to know what you're doing when you go to the booth. Not only like, are you registered to vote? Like, what are you voting for? So I think for us and where we start to move forward, to your point, Dr. Lewis and Tip, like we've sadly been saying these things and white America is just not catching up. And it's like, I don't have the time, not from a standpoint that I don't want to help you. I got to go help my brothers and sisters in my Black community because we literally are like just dying with COVID-19 at a disproportionately higher rate than other people. And we are struggling because of just the economic lack of jobs and unemployment and other things. And so I think we just need to start getting strategic in what we really amplify during this time, whether you are serving on a board, whether you are contributing your time to other people's efforts, like what is it that you're getting out of that and what are they getting from you? And if that's not something that is being reciprocated in a way that's going to advance the next person behind you and the kids that are in that room or whomever, it's not good. And it's like once we realize where our time is going, that's really gonna answer a lot of questions because it's like where you putting your time at is where is maybe what might be the problem. And you might be doing good work there, but I think for us it's like we've seen over the past like couple of months and couple of weeks with just the symbolism of losing John Lewis and watching the news and reading his last letter.
Yes.
And I know that talked to Dr. Carpenter about that as well. Like it's a lot for me, at least. That's how I'm looking at it. I wasn't on the bridge at Selma, but looking back at that and them pulling that footage and showing it and taking that in and him making that last appearance to Black Lives Matter on that street. That's huge. Like he's an icon and he was with people who Dr. King and when they signed the Civil Rights, Voting Act and all these different things. And here we are looking at this in the House, trying to restore that, trying to change that. And I just think that it's so much at stake. And so hopefully we all can just get on one accord and just really try to hear each other and hold people accountable. I tweeted last night, like all them PR statements that all these companies put out, I need a update report because I just really like what happened. Like I just hope we just don't go back to being stagnant and like being all right. It's just another hashtag. George Floyd happened, and Black Lives Matter. That's all we're gonna do. No, put us in leadership positions. No, give us the salary that we need. Hold people accountable. Like, what is your policies really
Change
doing
some policies.
Like don't perpetuate status quo.
It can't be.
Changes.
It can't be checkbox things. Okay, we put out an ad where we had some people of color in our ad, or we came together and read a book. But what as Tiffany mentioned earlier, what is that company's legacy works as it relates to some of these racial issues? What policies and systems are you disrupting? And as you mentioned John Lewis and someone said in the chat, good trouble. We need some of these companies to get into some good trouble. And institutions and governmental entities to get in some good trouble. So Tiffany, you said you had another question?
Yeah, I was just wanting to talk to Kiona because we talk about this a lot. Being an African-American female in a Caucasian male dominating world, setting yourself up, surrounding yourself. My favorite scripture, Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. I tell you that all the time.
Quote that scripture, girl.
You better know. So
we go to church.
That is my scripture. Whenever I'm down, I know I can go to for the plans I know I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you, not to harm you. Plans to give you hope in the future. With everything that's going on, you said you meditate. I know there's a spiritual being there. What is that go-to scripture, and what can a Kiona tell this generation that's behind us? Because me, our thing is you always have to reach back and grab someone. So part of my reaching back. I've told, I talk to you through tough conversations, through things that you're navigating. And I try to tell you what I would have wanted someone to tell me, which sometimes I had, I had my mother, I had my grandmother, I had my aunts to tell me those things. But what's that go-to scripture? And what is something that you can tell someone that may be a teenager that's about to navigate this next phase of their life, a female to be exact?
Yeah, I would say just really, leaning into oftentimes, I think for me, it's been literally not waiting to get an opportunity from someone else. I'm showing my worth by the things that I'm building. And I think that is a testament to yourself. So know who you are, know whose you are. And I've learned that, and I'm not saying it's easy. It's very challenging because that requires us as people to look at yourself internally and work on things that can usher you to move forward so you can be the best you, right? I'm all over in the Psalms right now in the Bible. That's just kind of where I'm at. I honestly, at this point, it's so hard to just narrow down on one scripture. I was listening to church this past weekend, and just like the conviction that I felt of, God has it all under control. Like he's predestined these things and he knows what is coming. He knows what's going to happen. He already knows who's going to be president next year, like just all these things. And so just having faith in the world will be taken care of, and I think for us, that's the only hope at the end of the day that we really should be putting our faith in, and restoring what we look like as people, what we look like as communities, what we look like as a nation. Because quite frankly, over the next 6 months, we got a long road ahead of us in a lot of different spaces, whether you're going to work, you're in healthcare, you're in education. I mean, Dr. Lewis, you're doing it. Like every day is you're probably more tired than you were before COVID. You know what I'm saying? Like, cause you're just going in every single day. And I'm just I don't want to miss anything. Like, I don't even, just for my own growth. Like I was listening to a live that our pastor did, and she said, is this time, is anybody else? Is it just me, or is this just different? Like everything in life is all over. Like nothing in my life is the same. Nothing. Like since March, nothing is the same. And I think for all of us, we all needed that huge reset of just anything you knew that was normal to you. Okay, let's recalibrate. Let's figure out a different way. And I think to me, we needed a different way to be innovative. COVID-19 has inconvenienced you, whether big or small, whether you have money or you don't have money. You figured it out. And I think even for me, I'm figuring it out every single day. And I think that's where we need to be. Don't let what used to be limitations define those same things today. It is a different world. So if you got an idea, start. If you got a business plan, do it. Figure out what you need to do so we can be better and just contribute to just the next phase of what our new normal will be. And I think that's what we all should be thinking about. It's just don't just go through this and we just be just chilling. No, we need to be out here starting businesses. We need to be out here getting money. Like Tiffany said, what are you going to do when you in the next 5 years? I don't want to be where I am now in the next 5 years. I don't want to be where I am in the next 2 years. I want to be different, and I want to be different in mindset. I want to be different in what I bring to the table, knowledge and financially and all those different things, so I can do more for others, and not just for others, but for myself, so I can grow, so I can learn. And so I think if nothing else, if people don't get anything else out of this whole thing, is you have been inconvenienced and you've had to think about other people. And this is giving you an opportunity to get it right. If you need to go to counseling, go to counseling. If you need some help, ask for help. We don't need no more pride, no more selfishness. If you got beef with somebody, squash it. Call them up. Hey, look, it's almost 2021. It's too short.
It's almost like God said, you know what? Let's have an interruption. I'm gonna interrupt all this stuff that you thought you needed to survive, and we're gonna have an interruption. Church isn't like it used to be. How you worship isn't like it used to be. God forced you to be in your house to deal with the things that you needed to take care of home. Things happen for a
Mm-hmm.
reason in
Yeah.
such a time as this. I'm a firm believer in that. Like something has to come out of this. We don't all see it, whether it's those books that Anthony is supposed to be writing, it's your ice cream parlor that you're supposed to be doing, whatever it
She throwing shade.
is.
Yeah.
No, I'm
Yeah,
just
she is.
saying. I'm
I
just
know, I'm just like,
saying. It's whatever you need to do to be a better you, and you need to own it.
mm,
What excuse do you have now? You locked in the house. You're on quarantine.
Hmm.
that's true. You ain't got
Yeah.
nothing else to do.
Listen to
Yeah.
Carl.
So we're up on our time, I do believe.
Hmm.
So we want to give you
Oh
any
man.
final. I know. We want to give you any final words. I did have one more question for you,
Okay.
but we'll definitely give you an opportunity to close it. I guess you can close it out with this question. But I do agree with what you both said. I think God just had to slow this world down so we can appreciate each other. Husbands and wives had to spend a lot more time together with their kids, and I do believe that He allowed the George Floyd incident to happen during this time. Because just imagine if we were still going on with the day-to-day operations of our lives, I don't think we would have been able to just really sit down and
Do you see
what's over
Carpenter?
church from cash out. Okay. All right, here's my last question.
Oh my God, I
But what
can't.
were you saying about George Floyd? I
No,
want to.
I said, I just believe that if the world had not been slowed down when that had happened, people would have just been going
Yeah,
on. I believe people would have been going on with their normal daily lives.
that's
Now they've
true.
had time to sit here and see this happen, digest it, sit in it, you get uncomfortable with it, but then they were able to think, what, where do we go from here? What can I do?
Yep.
But I like what happened. Did y'all notice what happened after this? People of all races and ethnicities came together. Those that really, didn't have a hidden agenda, but they came together to fight for a cause. COVID
Yeah.
and all, to work together for a cause. We just need to keep that momentum. We need to educate. I'm constantly telling people, educate them. If you don't understand why that's a problem, I don't expect you to know any of our stories because you haven't lived what we've lived, but at least be understanding enough to know that what I have experienced is real. Just like you
Mhm.
want me to understand what you've experienced. But I could talk about that all day, so we're gonna digress.
Yeah. So last question. I often say I want to be a good ancestor, and just looking at your work, I know you want to be a good ancestor as well. So
Hmm.
years from now, when we're all long gone, and future generations log on to whatever device that they log on to, and they Google Kiona Sinks, what do you want them to see? What type of headlines, articles, images? What do you want them to see when they Google Kiona Sinks?
Um, Black excellence invest, millions of dollars in youth development, professional, and education. I don't know. Something that has to do with
Hmm.
changing our future, and setting us up for when I'm no longer here. If something were to happen to me, God forbid, or BXKC, and it will, once it manifests itself and someone comes in and takes it even further than what I could do. It's leaving everything for investments and in the
Mm.
future of people that are coming behind me in our community, for us, by us, through us. Like that's what
Yeah.
I want to be known for when people look me up and they read about, man, like who's this Kiona girl? Like
Hmm.
some award, what, I don't know, whatever that
Yeah.
is. I want them to look me up and see like she was legit. Like, and they go back and look at all this stuff and see like the conversations, and because this stuff is out there on the internet. It's like it's out there
Yeah.
forever.
Yeah.
That's how people be pulling up stuff when you like say, "Oh, I'm about to go do this," and they like go back in the archives, and it's like, "All right, just
Uh-huh.
beware."
Right.
So yeah, I just want people to know, like, my heart's pure, and I'm not perfect, and I've had my fair share of challenges, but I dug down deep and wanting to be true to myself, and working on moving forward in my life to articulate and to put into action, to be better, to show us, my generation, that you can bet on you, and it's okay to bet on you,
Mm.
because nobody can be you, and at some point, what you have to offer is going to be something that somebody else is going to need. And so I think where I'm at in life is that's just where I'm at. I'm wanting to help others, and I don't think that's ever going to change. I just think it might look different in different phases of my life, but it's always going to be with us in mind. And so hopefully that's what people get.
Wow. Something that you have to offer in life, somebody's going to need. Wow. Well, Kiona, it has been a pleasure to host your show and interview you on Up Next Reversed.
Thanks for letting
Thank you all for watching. Kiona, you want to tell everybody where they can find you and Black Excellence, BXKC?
Yeah, they can look up Black Excellence KC. Just Google us. That sounds weird. Our website will pop up. Our membership is free for the remaining of 2020. We will start working with like companies, organizations, and things of that nature in 2021 to help with, HR and employee resource groups and making sure that people are internally letting us know, by us meaning Black people, what Kansas City has to offer, and not just assuming that people know about, the Mark Bedell's of the world and how he's changing education on the Missouri side, and Dr. Lewis's of the world and what you're doing on the Lawrence side. Like, all those things are for a purpose. And so look us up, sign up for our newsletters. You can find me on all social media, Instagram to be exact. Up Next is getting ready to literally like be up next.
Yeah.
So I had a cool video. I hopefully I can play. I'm not sure if I can do it on here, but we're getting ready to try to get this thing, going. People are gonna start giving sponsorships, and I know I'm getting ready to go into the NBA here in the end of August, and so this live interaction, I think that's what's been a blessing for me in COVID. It's like this conversation between us three at some point will be pre-recorded and it will be aired live so people can watch it real time, and we're gonna be on the couch chilling. And so I think that's gonna be dope. And it's just, for me, I was not expecting to literally add something else to my plate, but it's been a blessing, and I hope that good things come out of it, and hopefully people follow Up Next, and it just becomes this big thing in Kansas City, and then other people across the United States like listen in on it. So we'll see. Yeah. So just follow Up Next. Be back here tomorrow, 8:30. I don't got no control over nothing. So
I got this. We'll be back here tomorrow at 8:30. Make sure you tune in. If you want to sponsor Up Next, if you know some sponsors, reach out. This lady is amazing. She's doing some phenomenal work. She needs to be heard. So make sure you have sponsors or know of organization or company, or your company wants to sponsor Up Next. Please get in touch with Kiona Sinks.
Yes, more sponsors. And if you think you're ready to mingle, reach out to me. I'm her personal dater person, matchmaker. Yeah, that's it, babe. Thanks for the word. Yeah. Reach out to me, and I'll let you know when she gets ready. I'll make sure she's ready for you. But yes, Kiona, thanks for having us.
Should we play the video to close out the segment so people know what to expect? I will exit out.
Kiona. So what we're gonna play a video as we exit out. We're gonna play a video. I have my editors in the back. My editors are gonna cue the video to let people know what's next. You have anything to say else about the video?
No, see you guys when the show's over. Peace out. Talk to you guys later.
Stay tuned. Watch this video. Stay logged on and watch the video.
We could go, we could even do something where if we needed to go remotely, where like you go to Chicago and sit down with her and then we just record the thing, and then that could be the podcast.
We got to get there first.
Hey, I'm thinking next month.
If I go see Michelle Obama, I gotta, no, I gotta take you, the hairdresser, the makeup lady, and I gotta take an assistant, because that's a big deal. I need to be like, together if I'm gonna record the first.
I got my bags packed already.
Yeah, that's like a once in a lifetime opportunity.
Oh my God, yeah. You're recording?
Yeah.
All right, so just real quick, give me your elevator pitch of what is Up Next.
Yeah, Up Next started like beginning of COVID. Pivoting, trying to figure out like I can't do community engagement in Kansas City. I can't meet people in person. So what do? I sat down and to my knowledge, thought I was gonna do, have conversations and just call it even one week, and it like kept going. I was like, okay, I think I've launched a podcast.
What's in the name for Up Next? How'd you come up with that, and what's the meaning behind it?
I think people, it's like expectation is so traditional now. Like, and I feel like in the time in which we live, with everything in our country, our community, up next is like what's up next, like what's getting ready to happen. And so you never know who I'm going to talk to about, whether that's entrepreneurship, community engagement, social injustice, the importance of Black excellence in our community. I think that name just was like, like what could I call it? It's like Up Next, because that's just whatever is whatever. It's up next.
Do you have a specific audience in mind of who you really want to latch on and be able to hear your voice and who you talk to?
I think anybody. I'm very open to allowing people not only in Kansas City but across the United States to hear the content and hear the people for who they are and their voices and what they do. Everybody has something to offer in life and in this world, and so if somebody finds Up Next and they say, "Hey, man, like that's legit. Like let's do it," I want them to listen in on this. I think anybody and everybody needs something to listen to right now, different than what's expected.
And then last question I have is that you said young, not in their upper 30s. I'm 34. Does that make me young or old? I don't know.
Nah, you good. I think anybody. I feel like right now, a diversity in age, I think that's what has got me to sit here in front of you, right? Like I've had people that were your age now that have helped me, shaped me, cultivated my life experiences where I'm able to now have the platform that I do. And so I think for anybody, you're not too old. I want everybody, 30s, 40s, 50s, 20s, teenager, anybody.
I'm going to pitch this to my parents in the 60s, so they'll
Okay.
listen.
You're on, so that's dope.
Okay, everybody. Thanks for joining us tonight. Great co-hosting with you, hon.
Awesome. You did an
See
awesome job.
in a minute.
See you in a minute. Make sure you wear your mask when you come see me.
Really. Enjoy, everybody.